Hello, everybody, and welcome to Some Patches Required, a show where we hope to educate and entertain you on the ever-turbulent games industry. As always, I am one of your hosts, Aaron.
And I'm your other host, Zach.
And this particular week, I chuckled because turbulent is taking on a whole new sort of meaning this time, if I'm honest. Before we get into the ever-so-fun nitty-gritty of this one, which will be the CEO of Roblox doubling down on the idea of turning it into a dating platform. Yay! Good times abound. Before we jump into all of that, as always, a hearty and heartfelt thank you to all of our new and returning listeners. If you've stuck it out with us, we appreciate having you back. If it's your first time through the gates of the show, then welcome on in. We're happy to have you. We hope you enjoy what you hear. If you all collectively would not mind too terribly hitting the engagement button on your platform of choice and sharing the show with a friend, or as we always like to say, a mortal enemy, that is, of course, much appreciated, as it's our best and really only way of growing as a show. And during or after this whole conversation, we'd be interested in hearing if any of you can come up with a worse platform to turn into a dating service than Roblox, because I've racked my mind for a little bit, and it's I'm coming up dry at the moment. So if you can come up with anything in a civil and mature manner to post down in the comments, kind of kick off a conversation, I think that would be an interesting exercise.
I thought you were going to say if this is your first time through the gates of hell, welcome, because this is the gates of hell episode after all.
It kind of is the Gates of Hell episode, but it's not in so many ways, Zach, because we're talking about date night.
Date night? Oh boy, what are we doing on this fine date night with our? Well, I don't have a significant other at this current time, but with you might.
Yeah, with our respective boos and bows, mm-hmm. our the apples of our proverbial eyes. What would you like to do, Zach?
What would I like to do? Well,
what's a date? What's it? This is my voice for this, by the way. What's a date? What's a good date look like?
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and also sound, but of mind. I was joking with Aaron. We should just play the fucking Twilight Zone intro for this because it's fucking wild. Well, I want you to imagine quite possibly the most romantic date night of your life, Aaron. I'll set the scene.
I'm ready.
You're at your
I'm
local.
Sorry, I'm ready.
You're at your local middle school for a fine spaghetti dinner with your lover. School is in session, so naturally the kids are in the gymnasium as well, playing dodgeball.
It's dodgeball day, my favorite.
It's dodgeball day. Yeah, exactly. As your spaghetti gets to the table and you're ready to Lady and the Tramp said spaghetti with your fine lover. I want to clarify, this lover in this hypothetical is over 18, preferably 30 or whatever. I don't know.
Yes.
You're immediately
I'm having an age-appropriate Pescetti date at the middle school during dodgeball. Yes, this is perfect.
Perfect. You're immediately beamed in the back of the head with a dodgeball. The children, they surround you and start screaming slurs at you and other profanity. Your date is ruined.
No, this is my perfect venue for love.
Huh. Well, if that's the case, I don't know what to tell you. But all seriousness, I apologize to anyone that had to listen to that horrific skit of ours. But I I wanna throw all the rocks at wonderful David Baszucki, who is the CEO of Roblox, who thinks that it is a great idea to double down on the hopes that his platform can become a dating app. I just want to immediately say the only reason he wants to do this is to get more users on the platform, because it is a predominantly child platform that is trying to look at how they can make more money. There is no good that will come from David's, proposal here, though.
No, there is not. There is absolutely not. So as far back as 2023, I almost said 2013 for some reason. As far back as 2023, David Baszucki, whose name does sound like there's a bar chain in my general area of Northwest Ohio that sells a pizza cookie on their menu for some reason that they've decided to call the Baszucki. And every time I hear Baszucki, I either think it's a childed down version of a bazooka or a mispronunciation of the Baszucki, which isn't in it of itself a bad, dumb, made up word. Anyway, as far back as 2023, David Baszucki decided that he wanted to, in his 5-year essentially like goals, predictions, and whatnot for the platform, dating appears. And he's since doubled down on this 2 or 3 times, the most recent time being, I believe, on an episode of a podcast. And there are just so many reasons why this is a fundamentally, foundationally bad idea. And it is fully just a money-making thing, right? It's user acquisition and money. There's no other rationale that could possibly justify turning a platform like Roblox into something that officially supports dating rather than just kind of letting relationships that form in online communities organically form in online communities organically without being like directly facilitated by the platform.
Well, I mean, it came up on a podcast, so clearly it has to be a fantastic idea, because everything that anyone says on a podcast is 10 out of 10.
All podcasts are good, run by good people, and contain good ideas. It's
true.
One of the immutable rules of the internet.
I'm picturing we break the fourth wall and just stare into the audience's eyeballs right through their soul. But yeah, no, to your point, it's ridiculous, because I would even argue that all of the existing dating apps suck ass. They're all bad. Like, they have not done anything good for dating, really. I mean, I guess you have exposure to more people, but the reality is that I think a lot of people have an unhealthy relationship with dating apps, and it's led to a lot of the incel culture that talk a lot about only the alpha chads get the women, no one else gets the women. And this is on Tinder and Hinge and Bumble and all these, dating apps that are very much tailored for at least people over the age of 18. We're talking about a platform that was originally created to help kids learn how to code.
Yeah.
I want to say that one more time. Math Blasters is now a dating site.
It's 2025, everybody. It's over. Yeah. It's all over.
I didn't fuck that up right. It's Math Blasters. I don't honestly remember half the
It is Math Blaster, yeah. I actually, inexplicably, I played Math Blaster recently.
Oh, shit. Did they add dating?
Yep. Yeah, I was trying. I don't know who would be less. I mean, I guess Math Blaster would be better than Spot the dog.
What's 2 plus 2, or else we'll send a slur to your partner. They kidnap your relationship. They start sending profanity to the other person if you fuck up your math.
It's like one of those games where the computer starts to mess with you. Yeah. No, yep, you're right. I mean, I completely agree that generally speaking, I don't know, it's one of those double-edged swords of the internet situations, right? Where online dating has certainly it's definitely had its impacts, I would say net is probably more negative than positive. That having been said, I know people, I have close friends who met their spouses on dating sites.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, everything seems to be going well. They're, well-rounded, good people with, not like hugely, not, okay, this is going to sound, I almost just buried myself in nonsense there. They're good people, right? And they found each other through this platform that has also contributed a lot of bad things. So it's not to say that there's been no good that's come from dating apps, but I completely agree with you. It's definitely turned the world of dating into something very transactional. There's a lot more opportunities for abuse and stalking, harassment. It definitely has had that sort of Giga Chad runoff, which is such a huge win for society at large that we have more of those people running around. But yeah, again, none of those are Math Blaster. And the educational side of Roblox may have fallen by the wayside a good long time ago, but it is still not an 18 plus platform, right? There's a pretty clear, and we've pulled statistics if you want to kind of try and burn through some of these before we go through the rest of all of the fun stuff.
Well, the short of it, Aaron, is I got so concerned about the actually people coming into the comments section, which I'm not sure that's ever happened to us, but I just live in constant fear of them, that I felt the need to pull statistics to illustrate that the majority of the platform is in fact children. I pulled 3 because I wasn't sure which ones of these were the most legit. So Statista states that 66% of users are under the age of 18. That is clearly the majority of that 66%. 40% of them are under the age of 12. I don't know about most adults, but I think I can speak confidently that most of us don't want to interact with 12-year-olds unless they're our own kids, maybe. I don't know.
Our own children, relatives, or you are in childcare.
Oh, fair enough. That is true. I guess if you're a teacher in elementary school, you're fucked. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but like, I guess the gist of it is like, if I am going to sit down for a few precious hours of game time, right? And I have decided this is how I will be spending my evening, my hard-earned free time. 12-year-olds are probably not going to be the crowd that I am immediately going to want to hang out with, right? Like, if I go to a movie and if I decided tomorrow I want to go see Superman, and I go in there and there are 50 12-year-olds in my screening of Superman, I'm going to think, this is probably not great. This will not go well for me.
There was like, God, this was maybe 3 years ago. I went to the Cincinnati Zoo for the first time in like at least 10 years. Because I'm originally from Cincinnati and I wanted a nostalgia trip. So I went in the middle of the day. One of the most uncomfortable experiences of my life, because it was just a bunch of children and then me. And I was probably like 27 or something at the time. And I was like very aware of the fact that I was a solo dude at the zoo and that most people there were kids. And I feel like I just spent the whole time embarrassingly trying to dodge groups of children and probably making things look weirder because I was so self-conscious. So anyway, the reason I bring up any of this is I do not want to be in a place where it's like mostly fucking kids.
Yeah, being the one adult in a room full of preteens is not a good time.
Yeah, and I'm just talking about like me being irrationally weirded out. Like, they're also annoying. Do you not want them to yell chicken jockey every 5 seconds and throw popcorn at you, Aaron? That's what I'm hearing.
I don't. I'll be honest with you, I don't.
Yeah. That's valid.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, going down through some of those statistics, that lined up with something that I saw on Bloomberg, which was 40% are preteens, and then you also had
this game Yeah, Game Player Roblox player tools stated that up to 74% of players are under the age of 18, and then said 34% are between 7 and 12. They also had data that suggested more older users are going to the platform, but we're talking like an increase year over year of like 1 to 2%. It's not massive gains. So it is certainly still a platform targeting kids, for kids. Yeah, I don't know what else there really is to say.
Yeah.
Basically, the data suggests that over 50% of users are underage. And even the percentage of users that are above 18, the majority of them don't appear to be over 30. So this is a, new platform, a young platform in terms of its user base, regardless of how you kind of cut this.
Yeah, for sure. And, there's definitely been some talk about the fact that the maturity rating went up, I want to say in 2023, to accommodate slightly more mature experiences, namely like crude humor, more realistic blood, various just different like content, things like that would push something from an E-rated game to a T-rated game. But, nothing overtly Tinder-esque. Well, except for the fact that there definitely have been experiences like that on Roblox before, but they've either been shut down, the creators have shut them down because they were being misused or whatever, but that's kind of beside the point. Yeah, it is a young platform. That is the gist of it, right? Like the David Baszuckis of the world may look at the dating side of things as a growth opportunity, but even just taking that as a strategy, I don't fully buy into it, because I don't think that a platform predominantly occupied by underage people is going to be an appealing environment for dating for of-age people. Right? Take any of the sort of unpleasantries that we're going to talk about here and what I can feel to be just about a minute or two. Take those away for a moment. Exist in a world without them. Blissful. Yes, it's wonderful. It's still a bad fucking idea, because I can't fathom looking at the variety of different ways that I could have a digital date with somebody. Because Baszucki's comments essentially boiled down to, there are a lot of people who find dating awkward. There are a lot of people who find meeting up in person uncomfortable or potentially dangerous. And so they may feel more comfortable for a variety of different reasons having an online meetup with somebody rather than, an in-person meetup. And this to him is a great solution to the loneliness epidemic, right? Nah.
Well, and we'll get into the loneliness epidemic, because I think it's being cited to promote a lot of really stupid ideas, if I'm being completely honest. But, the Roblox CEO here is talking about things like movie screenings, concerts, mixers, etc., in terms of the kind of things that he wants to have more of in Roblox. And I'm like, I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to look at the data for Fortnite, but I'm not entirely sure how successful those kinds of things would be, because why would I want to go to a movie screening in Roblox? Why would I not just in Discord pirate a movie? You shouldn't pirate movies, air quotes or whatever. I don't know.
You wouldn't
I'm
steal
not your
a car.
mom. I'm not your dad. You shouldn't. Or, why would you not just watch a movie on Discord? Why would you not just listen to music in Discord? Like, there are so many better platforms for doing these experiences than Roblox. I think people think these like virtual environment kind of experiences where the whole point is to be social are like super cool, but I never have thought they were that interesting. Like,
no.
I got really bored of VR chat pretty fucking fast, because there's nothing to do in a lot of the rooms. You're just talking. And it's like, why am I not just in a Zoom call? You know what I mean? Like, the reason some of these things work in games like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy, these big MMOs, is because, one, you've got this like character that you've poured a lot of hours into, but there's actually a game there, a consistent game, a consistent world that you're living in, and then interacting with people. It's not the same as like Roblox or VR chat per se. That being said, I'm also willing to state that I might just not be the target audience for this because I think it sounds super fucking lame. So
yeah, I will echo that. I'm a curmudgeonly old man at this point. I don't get it. Like, I think if you're talking about like the Fortnite concerts as a concept, I think the only way that I can like squint and understand the appeal is there are a lot of people for whom obtaining a ticket to a Snoop Dogg concert or insert relevant pop star that Aaron doesn't know because he's old here. Any of those concerts, right? Like, okay, having it hosted on a digital stage where there's not a physical barrier to entry and there's no like cap on attendance. I think I understand why that is conceptually appealing, but I have no interest in going to any of these things, right? Like, not even in those environments am I don't find that appealing. I agree with you about like VR chat and a handful of other games that are largely just social spaces for people to exist in. I don't really see the appeal, but then again, I was never the kid who, spent, like people who have a really good time just like, well, what are you going to do tonight? Well, I'm going to talk on the phone with my friends. And that's it. That's the whole activity, is just being on the phone.
Yeah.
That was never, and I grew up way before you and I both grew up back during like landlines. So we had the potential for that to be our evening before the entire world of entertainment was at everyone's fingertips 24/7. And even then, that sort of just like one note activity was not hugely appealing to me. So maybe I've never been the target audience for it, and a shiny new coat of paint isn't going to make me the target audience for it. But yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine a Roblox movie screening being anything other than hell.
Well, here's the other thing too. So like you mentioned, or we both talked about Fortnite. The Fortnite concerts are more than just a concert. It's like an event. And what I mean by that is it's like an in-game event. Like there's these weird like psychedelic like experiences that you go through where you can interact with things in ways that maybe you couldn't normally, where you like fly around between clouds and bounce on them. Like it's not just a concert. Like, There are game mechanics that are unique to the experience. It's much more of like a game experience, like a seasonal event. It's not just a concert. So I think that's important to state, at least for Fortnite. In addition to that, I think that there certainly is an audience that likes VR chat, that has enjoyed VR chat. I have some friends that are really, really into it. But that's got the VR dynamic, and I think that that's part of the reason that people really liked it. I think going back years and years and years, there's like Second Life and all these other things that people certainly liked that I never really engaged with. But part of me feels like that is not this massive audience that they're going to be able to pull in and have this massive financial success from. And I just think it's too risky what they're trying to do. Like, for those that don't know, the biggest way that they're planning on trying to protect children, and this kind of leads into the next note, is they require you to put in your ID if you want to experience any of these more rated T experiences, right? Things that aren't rated E for everyone kind of things. You have to put in an ID to prove that you're over 18 or whatever the age is. And people could just steal their parents' IDs. Like, there's already been an epidemic of kids stealing their parents' like credit cards to put it in to buy V-Bucks or Roblox or Robux, whatever they're called. So this is not a solid system here for preventing children from, getting into spaces that they shouldn't be in. That's the reality. And that kind of goes the other way too. You'll end up having kids that probably think it's funny to go into these adult experiences and ruin dates for people, harass people trying to go on dates, potentially make fun of them. Like, these two things do not work well. I was a kid once. I used to do prank calls. And when I think about it a lot, it was kind of douchey over Skype when you could do it over Skype. It was the thing. Anyway, regardless, kids suck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to work either way. You're not protecting the kids, and then the kids are going to probably harass the adults that are trying to do their own thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bad situation all around.
Yeah. Hence our middle school Pischetti date joke, right? It's just not an environment that's conducive to doing either of the two things you're supposed to be doing. One, you are supposed to be providing a safe place for kids to have experiences, because ultimately, and we've talked about Roblox before and how some of its economy is kind of messed up, but at its core, the idea that kids can use a simple tool set to create experiences that can then be distributed to other people is theoretically a powerful creative idea, right? Focus on that. And forget about dating, because if again, you're doing neither thing well at that point. I can't fathom that kids are going to be any better behaved. Well, I mean, there's almost certainly statistics on the fact that, like, behavior online is just kind of net worse across the board, regardless of your age demographic, because of that anonymity factor, right? So, like, kids themselves are going to have there's no impetus to behave yourself. If, like, I can see a kid with a YouTube channel with 15 subscribers making videos of him or her going in and trolling people on dates just because they can. That's 100% a thing that's gonna happen. But again, I think that's a lot less concerning than the potential downside for children in this instance. And I don't necessarily, Zach, want to push us into that unless you're ready to go there for a brief little ladle drop.
I think the final thing I would just say on what you mentioned is there's an entire genre of content online that is entirely devoted to harassing, annoying other people, and then, basically farming them for content. And I could absolutely see that taking place in Roblox if this happened, because it's largely content for younger audiences, this harassment content, because kids are stupid and they don't know that harassing other people is shitty. Like, that's the reality of the situation. So, like, I could easily see that being some kind of content online where kids harass people in these more, I hate saying adult experiences because that makes it sound like porn, and that's not what's being proposed by the CEO. But of course it's going to happen because of the stuff adults,
because of humans,
because human. To your point, I think the only real extent that we need to go through any of this is that as recently as July 17th of this year, there was a lawsuit filed against Roblox and Discord by parents in California who state that Roblox misrepresents itself as a safe space for kids while allowing a platform that makes children easy prey. And then, for the sake of not scaring off the algorithm, I'll leave out the word here. But my point here is there are parents that are starting to notice and starting to take legal action against Roblox because it is not putting enough protections in place to prevent children from being in situations where they could be potentially taken advantage of. I will say, in defense of all platforms, it is a hard thing to moderate the amount of experiences, the amount of content that you have on these massive platforms, but you're getting paid billions of dollars to do this shit. It's a little bit hard to feel that bad. You found some data on that moderator stuff, Aaron. Do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So, obviously in something like Roblox where there is just so much user generated content, it is essentially a social media platform where what is being shared is not shorts like it would be on TikTok, but rather experiences, right? Some of those experiences are very threadbare. Some of them are a lot more robust, but they are all just kind of out there and made by people. And since they're made by people, they didn't go through a thorough vetting process during development to make sure that they, aligned with all of the community standards. So obviously that's where moderators come in. So Roblox, based on what I was reading on Bloomberg, Roblox has about 3,000 moderators, which, according to a good solid handful of current and former employees at Roblox, who've worked in the content moderation space, they say that that's nowhere near enough. They're often being escalated hundreds of child safety related concerns on the daily, which is proving to be too many for them to handle. Compare that 3,000 to what Bloomberg listed as TikTok's 40,000 moderators, which sounds like an insane number. But TikTok does have roughly 3 times the daily user count of Roblox, but it has more than 10 times the number of moderators, if that number is accurate. Meaning that content moderation on that platform, which I personally also have some issues with, is still a lot more robust. So yeah, the general consensus is that Roblox, and to be fair, Roblox claims that the number of content moderators is not equivalent to quality content moderation. And they say that while relying fairly heavily on AI models and other algorithms to moderate content for them. But yeah, the gist of it is that there is a content moderation issue on Roblox that can have a pretty severe negative effect on kids, especially when we're talking about voice chat and direct messages and various issues that arise from that in the children's direction. And I mean, obviously, we're not going to go way down the rabbit hole in terms of discussing various cases of child abuse that have occurred as a result of Roblox. If you want to dig into any of those, you really don't have to Google that hard. We didn't. The gist of it is that this is a known issue. It is an extant problem. I found one statistic just stating that since 2018, police in the U.S. have arrested at least 24 people accused of various child abuse issues that are directly relating to Roblox. So yeah, I don't think it's an incredible stretch, all jokes and goofiness aside, to raise some serious concerns over what happens when you condone dating with questionable age verification practices on a site largely geared towards children.
Yep. It's not a great recipe to have a children's platform and then invite adults to have romantic experiences on said platform.
Yeah.
Because even if you're doing everything right, there's always going to be some failure rate. And you're literally just inviting you're inviting there to be some kind of weird, uncomfortable, meshing there, mixing.
Yeah, I mean,
because the explicit purpose for the kids being on the platform is to have fun and play games, and you're trying to invite.
That'll come later.
Yeah, you're trying to invite adults onto the platform explicitly to date.
To do adult things.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom line of this is, regardless of, I don't even care how good, if you could get me some sort of magic tool that gave me 100% accurate age verification that never failed at all, under any circumstances, right? There's no danger of somebody of age directly communicating with somebody underage, and there's no danger of somebody underage sneaking into the room with the of age people, right? Never the twain shall meet in this magical hypothetical I've created, right? Even in that circumstance, I cannot see an upside to wanting on the same thing for there to be adult behavior and kid behavior, because we're not talking about Facebook, which I think doesn't Facebook, which also they don't care about age verification even a little bit, but doesn't Facebook have isn't there a minimum age you have to be on the platform at all? Like 13 or something like that?
I signed up when it came out, so I don't even really remember. It probably has something that's 13 or whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, so the whole point of me bringing that up is a lot of social media platforms do actually have minimum ages you have to be in order to be on, which of course people just lie because that's what we do. My PlayStation Network account that I got when I was 16 definitely thinks I'm 3 or 4 years older than I actually am, because I wanted to be able to download an M-rated game when I got it when I was 16. And it wouldn't have let me do that otherwise. And the verification was nothing. So obviously those are exploitable, but the difference between a platform like a Facebook and a platform like a Roblox, again, just comes down to the core audience, right? Maybe Facebook skews younger or older, whatever, but it's basically a broad sort of platform that's geared towards everybody and also nobody. And so if there's a dating section on Facebook,
which there is,
then that kind of makes sense for that platform, because it's not the digital modern day version of a literal child's playground.
Yep.
Exclusively, which is what it is. And I think, there are certainly experiences on Roblox that are geared more towards adults, but the gist of it is adults can enjoy kid things too, and that's totally fine. We all still love certain things that aren't maybe made for people our age. That's fine. But what, I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling at this point, because it boggles the mind why they think this would be a good idea. Even under the best of circumstances, I can't understand why you'd want to have a kid's room right next to an adult time dating room.
Yeah, I mean, it's just dumb. It's dumb, and they don't have a good track record of properly supporting people. So when the CEO says that everything will be fine and we should totally go down this route because it'll save people from loneliness and also make us a bunch of money, they don't have solid mechanisms for supporting the objectives, the goals that they are pushing. And also, I just want to say, even if they did, just make another fucking platform. It's not smart. It's just not a smart idea. I think, I was going to say, I think we've largely kind of beaten the horse, at least on this is a horrible idea side.
Yeah.
But if you have one more thing, I don't want to cut you off.
Not really. My biggest regret is that I didn't find more funny ways to work the name Baszucki in.
Well, we can talk about him again, because Baszucki thinks this will solve the loneliness crisis in America.
Yeah.
Which is also wrong. I will say, in Baszucki's defense, of all of the harebrained, just stupid ideas that people have for trying to solve the loneliness epidemic, this one is only bad because, again, it's a child platform that you're trying to get adults to be on for dating purposes. But at least there's hopefully human to human interaction. A lot of the people that have been claiming that they're going to solve the not male, but just general loneliness epidemic are trying to use AI or dating bots / sex bots or other horrific ideas that just further ostracize people and suck them out of normal, healthy human interaction.
Yeah, I honestly don't think I could have said that much better myself. I fully understand that we live in the year 2025. A lot of stuff happens virtually. A lot of the even positive effects of a deeply connected world where communication is arguably easier now than it's ever been. Distance is completely trivial at this point. so uh, there are there are positives in terms of people being connected by the internet. I think is safe to say. People have found their communities. They've realized that they're not alone. They've experienced joy, and there are no shortage of people who have organically, like I mentioned earlier in the episode, found their significant others through online means, including online games, right? So it is not news at this point anymore at all that some people who met playing World of Warcraft ended up getting married in real life, right? This sort of thing happens. Whenever there's a thriving community, people are going to meet up, people are going to pair up, and some of those people are inevitably going to work out, and that's wonderful. That having been said, I personally don't think that leaning even harder into existing in the digital space as opposed to what I will call the meat space, I don't think that is going to be a successful long-term sort of solution to an increasing feeling of loneliness. I'd be willing to bet that if you looked at as you actually pulled up, Zach, in respondents to some survey, 73% of people, in a Harvard Graduate School of Education survey about like the loneliness epidemic, they said that technology was a huge reason for it, like contributing to loneliness. 73% of respondents said that, which I think is, pretty telling. So I don't think that putting all of your eggs in the digital basket is going to improve that loneliness metric. And I sure as shit think that if a digital tool is going to do it, it ain't gonna be Roblox.
Well, the reality is I do think, as someone that interacts with a lot of people on Discord, I think that social interaction over digital spaces certainly has value. Whether that be online dating or meeting someone on a video game and falling into some kind of romantic relationship with them that's consensual, whatever, like that can be positive. But the reality is that a lot of data suggests that some kind of physical component of interaction is very important for human beings. And when I say physical, I don't mean just sexual. I mean like hugging your friend, shaking someone's hand, getting a pat on the back, like these, like literal just touching people, touching grass, except the grass is your friend and it's a firm handshake. Like these things are good for human beings to have. And I know for myself, now this is, just my personal experience, but like if I'm just hanging out with a bunch of people online all the time, eventually I'll feel kind of crappy and I will want to see people in person. And I think that for society, it is important that people have these in-person interactions and that we don't forget how to have these in-person interactions. So my issue with Roblox isn't the same as like with an AI where you're literally not interacting with a human being at all. You're just cutting out any of the flaws and difficulties of human interaction and replacing it with a yes man bot that might also just feed you fake information. Like at least you're having some kind of interaction, but purely online digital interaction is not good. I think it further ostracizes people, and I think it causes problems for society, ultimately.
Yeah. I mean, like, our societal structure and also just, like, evolutionarily, humanity hasn't had to confront an increasingly isolated population really at any point probably in its history up until the dawn of the internet, right? I mean, phones obviously made the world much more able to communicate across long distances. Before that, radio, various different forms of long distance communication, obviously. But and you can go back a gajillion years and find letters from long separated lovers who basically only had a relationship via their writing to one another, right? So like this isn't a new phenomenon,
Yeah.
but at scale, the idea that we're all just kind of inside and only really seeing each other through an apparatus of some sort, and then when the screen goes off, the person's gone. That is a societal challenge that humanity as a species has not had to deal with up until the last 30 years, right? That is kind of crazy. So yeah, no, I agree with you, Zach. Like there's definitely a ton of value in having meaningful experiences, whatever that may be. That may just be talking on the phone, even though I kind of poo-pooed that earlier. Like I get that. That's a meaningful experience. It can absolutely be the lifeline that gets you through a bad day, or the the conversation that makes you not feel alone. Discord has its upsides in terms of like maintaining communication, and even social media to some degree has its upsides in terms of like maintaining a relationship, no matter how tenuous, with people who were at one point important in your life, and may still be and may be again. But yeah, the further we go down that rabbit hole, the less actual face-to-face communication people have, the fewer handshakes, the fewer hugs. And I understand not everyone is like a toucher, which is totally good and fine and great, and everyone should respect each other's boundaries, but like that is kind of just a part of how humans used to be.
Well, I think to your point, with technology in general, is like technology's really only been like blowing up in the last 100 years or so. And I don't think that we've been able to evolve effectively to like accommodate that shift. To your point, if you look at like the use of the internet, really it's developed an astronomical amount in just 20 years. I mean, when we were both kids, the internet was candidly not something that like everyone had great access to, especially not high speed internet. I remember not being able to play World of Warcraft because for a long time we didn't have high speed internet until it became more affordable. But regardless of any of that, like we just cannot keep up with the quick pace of technology. And I think that there are some real ramifications for society if we aren't given the time to like effectively see what these changes do to us, our social structures, our communities, all of that. I think it's incredibly important that we have a better understanding of how technology impacts us. The one thing that I think illustrates that really well is this AI is making you dumber Adam Conover video that I posted. Hopefully you didn't watch the whole thing. You didn't need to watch the whole thing, but it basically illustrates a relatively strong case that there has been significant cognitive decline over the course of the last 20 years, thanks to access to the internet and also thanks to the smartphone. And specifically that this has been impacting younger people at a higher rate than, older generations. Just because like the smartphone's pure existence in a room can make you perform worse on cognitive tests, which is kind of wild. So I personally just think there's this hubris from tech bros and the tech industry in general that they can fix all of society's woes by technologifying it in some way, removing third spaces and putting them online, and that will be a like great substitute for the real thing. And I just don't think that that's the case.
Yeah. I think that I don't know. I think that the real, this is maybe too cynical, or maybe not. Maybe I'm not being too cynical and the world really is just like this. The best part about having digital third spaces, the best part of having all of your meetings occur online, is that at every single point in that experience, at every single, moment of that transaction, somebody is profiting. There is a clear monetary reason to want people to utilize your platforms to gather, to communicate, to meet, to date, to marry, to commiserate, to live, to enjoy, right? If you can move it all onto a platform that has been monetized, as opposed to, I don't know, a park, Meta doesn't make any money if you go to the park. They do make money if you sign up for their dating website. same would be going, of course, for Roblox. So I think that is maybe just my terrible cynical way of looking at it, but yeah, it doesn't solve anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's the classic, we create a problem to sell the solution, in my opinion. I don't think it's tech companies per se that have like prevented the US. This is specifically a pretty big US issue. I don't think it's tech companies that have prevented there from being parks in these like third spaces, right? But I certainly think that like the real fix to a lot of this is more affordable activities for people to participate in, spaces that are safe for people to meet up in person, spaces that, are easily accessible, public transit, big deal. Like these are all things that are super important and give you a feeling of being able to socialize, safety, community, all of that kind of stuff. And that stuff just isn't valued anymore. And instead, all of these tech companies want you to exist more and more in your house, in your apartment, on their platforms, so that, to your point, they can monetize you and claim that they're trying to fix, your loneliness or whatever it is. It's not great. The thing that I think I would just end on from my side is, for those of us that have gone through college, one of the really meaningful comments about why people tend to have this like nostalgia for college that I really resonate with is that it said that, at least in the United States, college is one of the few places that truly like is a third space. Typically, especially if you live on campus, you can walk everywhere. Your friends are in a little community, and everything's just accessible. Like, it's the only real time that you live in a walkable space with your friends there, your, food needs for the most part, your education needs, obviously, you're getting properly socialized. Like, all of these reasons are why people have this tendency to look back on college in this really longing way. And it's because, at least in the United States, we do a horrific job of maintaining that quality of life once you graduate.
No, I think that is a rock solid point. I've said the exact same thing about college, which is just that, like, you exist in this community with the people that you want to be around and the people you don't want to be around in equal measure. But yeah, I mean, everything's within walking distance for the most part. Your needs have ready solutions as long as you can go out and get them. And yeah, that experience just doesn't sort of maintain as you move out into the actual world. And I think, I don't know, there's a billion reasons for that are all probably too, inside baseball to get into at this late stage of the episode. But yeah, I guess my sort of closing argument would be that I think if you want to try to position Roblox in its current state as something of a balm for the loneliness epidemic, I'm almost willing to give Baszucki a little bit of wiggle room on that, just to say, like, you know what? Sure. People who may not otherwise have found their communities are playing games with people and making memories. Great. That's nice. Is that curing the loneliness epidemic among adults who don't feel like they're getting enough dates? No, but maybe it's okay not to solve that problem for those people on this platform, because it's just the wrong platform. It would be like if Marzetti Sauces decided that they were going to make a new electric vehicle. It's just completely not what they're supposed to be doing. It's just the wrong market for that, for 1,000 reasons. So yeah, I mean, if you want to really focus on curating like positive social experiences, really double down on making sure that Roblox as it stands is like a safe, equitable place for the user base that you have that's ravenous for the sort of content that you have to exist and make those memories, and then, facilitate that to the best of your ability. don't invite all of the problems that come with 18 plus and dating and all of that. That can be a whole different thing for someone else to deal with. Just leave it alone.
I think my actual ending thing related to the Roblox is I think the biggest issue is that he wants to make it a dating platform. I think if you express that you wanted to have more rated T experiences, maybe some more mature games on the platform, I don't think that's particularly problematic.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fine.
The other year we had basically COD in Roblox, but it looked great. It looked like a COD game. And if you wanted to try and pull over people that are part of the more core gaming audience that's a little bit older by having experiences on the platform that are maybe a little bit more complicated, maybe a little bit more high fidelity, just, not things that are targeted at kids, I think that's fucking fine. I mean, Fortnite exists and it's got a plethora of different content, but the difference there is they're not trying to make it a dating platform. You're not inviting adults onto the platform with the explicit purpose of pursuing romantic and sexual relationships on a platform that's for kids. If it's just a gaming platform, everybody likes to game. You have the right to try and expand your audience past it just being kids. That's just you needing to do better marketing, needing to make a better product that attracts an older audience. It's weird that you're so fixated on the dating thing, David. I don't even think it's the easy option for you. I think that is the harder option.
I would agree. I think that you could much more easily curate content for a wide range of ages. YouTube does it. Not well, but YouTube does it. So you can age restrict some content and just make sure that it's all, safe for whatever. But just stop with the dating, David. David, please. David, I'm begging. David, don't do this thing. Don't do this thing, David.
Yeah, it's truly bizarre. But I mean, I think at this point we've kind of run through most of our
dead Baszucki.
Yeah, no, we've run through most of our points. God damn it, David. Baszucki, you son of a bitch. David Baszucki, you son of a bitch. And I can say that at the end of the episode because they'll never catch me. They'll never do it. I'm the best. The big... Anyway, okay. On that note, we can probably say some thank yous.
Yeah.
I'm gonna...
I suppose... Oh?
Oh, I insist that I go first, you son of a bitch.
You son
of a bitch. We abuse each other verbally on this show. Yeah, so I'm going to say thank you to Mosscat Market. Mosscat Market is dope. Anyway, you should check out Mosscat Market. Mosscat Market made our wonderful podcast logo and a lot of the artwork, especially that we used towards the beginning of the show. So we hold a special place in our heart for our friend Mosscat Market. You can find her stuff on both Etsy and on Instagram under the tag Mosscat Market. Aaron.
Yes, indeed. And I do. I would also like to once again extend a hearty thank you to Beach Girl. Beach Girl being, of course, the wonderful provider of our exceptional intro and outro music, as well as the creative mind and the talent behind a whole online library of tunes that you can find just by searching Beach Girl on your preferred platform. Think YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, any of the big ones, probably a good handful of the small ones. Just search Beach Girl and open your ears up for an enjoyable Sonic experience.
Sonic? Like the Hedgehog?
Just like that.
Oh, God, it all comes full circle.
Oh,
anyway,
no.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. We appreciate you. Have a good rest of your day, and goodbye.
Indeed. This is my perfect venue for love.